Good afternoon, everyone. I know it's cold out here, but how are we feeling? Right? So, I want to welcome everybody for coming out today. My name is Raul, past LULAC National Vice President for the Midwest. I wish to thank all of you for coming out. Especially, I want to thank Congressman Grijalva, who's joining us here today. Can we have a round of applause for the Congressman? I want to thank him for his leadership. I also wish to thank our LULAC National Board, including VP for Young Adults, Abby Sabote, VP for the Northeast, Juan Lopez, and past National President Hector Flores for coming all the way in. But I really want to say thank you to the over 150 Dreamers and DACA recipients who come in from all over the country to do what is right and to tell Congress to act once and for all. In addition, we're joined here today by our good partners at the Hispanic Federation, and we want to thank them for all their support. If we give them a round of applause, please. So today, LULAC is joined, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. Today, this event is actually a historic event. It's a coming together of not just Latinos, but our friends, our neighbors in the Jewish community coming together to stand up to defend human dignity. So with that, I would like to introduce you to somebody who is a fierce advocate, a committed individual to human dignity, and someone I'm proud to call my friend, Ms. Alana Khan.
This is wonderful. I am so proud to stand here next to Daryl, who has become my friend and is co-leader of Milwaukee's Latino Jewish Alliance. And we stand here today, the Jewish community, with our Latino brothers and sisters, because our values and our history demand it. The call is urgent right now. We cannot allow our country to leave behind so many people. As Jews, we know what it's like when we're marginalized, deported, treated without compassion. We know what it's like to be left behind, to be treated like a stranger, even in our own homes. So we stand with our immigrant neighbors, with our Latino brothers and sisters, shoulder to shoulder and eye to eye. We flew here today from Milwaukee because we are friends, allies, and together we're going to create a ripple of change. Because change happens from on the personal level. And from there, we'll share that with lawmakers and demand change to national policy. Our Latino Jewish Alliance in Milwaukee has stood together on many issues, countering bigotry, advocating for police reform, and for police community relations repair, and sharing cultural exchanges. And today we stand together calling for a Clean Dream Act. I am so pleased to be here with my Jewish brothers and sisters also, from the American Jewish Committee and the Jewish Council for Public Affairs. And we're going to keep it brief.
So now our first speaker is somebody who almost needs no introduction. He's led the fight for immigrant rights and for our DACA and our Dreamer recipients for so long. Please put your hands together and welcome the Honorable U.S. Representative from Arizona's 3rd District, Raul Grijalva.
Thank you very much, and I'm here to thank the Federation, thank the Jewish Community Relations Council, thank the Jewish National Public Affairs, the Milwaukee Jewish Federation, the Hispanic Federation, and LULAC for being here and continue to advocate and not giving up. A lot has happened, and I think what our Jewish brothers and sisters can teach us is that there is a moral imperative involved in this fight for a legislative solution for Dreamers. There is a historic imperative that teaches us, and history teaches us, that we cannot allow the attitude, the bigotry, the insensitivity to keep bursting from the mouth of our president and translated by no action by the majorities here in Congress. Enable, coddle, and sustain that kind of rhetoric and that kind of racism in this country. Can't allow it. And we have an opportunity, this Congress, to not to break away and quit enabling this president and deal with the Clean Dream Act. Let's have a vote. And let's have a vote on the bipartisanship efforts that have been going on. There are solutions to this issue. on the fact that we are holding hostage over a million individuals in this country in order to extract the most extremist, mean-spirited, punitive enforcement issues on the immigrant community in this country, it should not be tolerated as well. We have an opportunity. January 19th is upon us, this Friday. Does the government keep running? Do we take care of 9 million poor children of this country who don't have insurance? Do we protect pensions for retirees? Do we keep community health centers open? Those are questions before this Congress. Questions that can be solved very, very easily. And the consequential issue that ties all this together is DACA. We wouldn't be in this situation if the president hadn't unilaterally got rid of the executive order. We wouldn't be in this situation if General Kelly, as chief of staff, would show some leadership in that office and bring us to a point where we have a resolution. Too much is at stake for Cuba. Its values, its future, and its sense of purpose. We are a country defeated over and over again. I can say that as a first-generation American, a country of immigrants. People have come to this country to give, not to take. Where people have come to this country to enrich and grow this country. And we have an opportunity by Friday to continue to make this country better. Continue to enrich this country and add to it. There is nothing to be afraid of. This is not some fear. This is something to embrace as part of the rich tradition and values and history of this nation. To do otherwise is to turn our back on our past. To do otherwise is to fall victim to the outbursts, rants, and rhetoric that we've heard from the White House in the last few days. We have a different path to go. We have a path that cares about this country. We have a path about the people who care about all the people in this country. And the DACA question and the Dreamer question that is before this Congress is consequential. It is about defining this nation. We all have to be part of it. I want to thank our Jewish organizations and representatives that are here today for adding a consistent voice to this discussion, for being here today on the eve of the 19th, and to say to this Congress, there's a moral question here, there's an American question here, and there's a fairness question here. And we have a chance to solve it. I urge my colleagues in this Congress, we will continue to press, continue to hold accountable, we will continue to hold our vote until we are certain the question that is consequential on Friday, the future of dreamers and the future of this country is taken into account, accommodated, and protected. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman. Next will speak Rabbi David Cohen from Congregation Sinai in Milwaukee.
The biblical book of Joel describes a utopian messianic future, a time when the old shall dream dreams and the youth shall see visions. Throughout human history, dreamers have always pointed the way. As the book of Proverbs puts it, without dreamers there is no vision, and without vision the people perish. These dreamers are the promise of America's future. Our moral obligation to them is founded on the values articulated in the book of Genesis. Created in God's image, every human is of infinite value, utterly unique, and co-equal one with the other. We are commanded to love and care for those who lack power, the poor, the widow, the orphan, and the stranger, to treat them with dignity and respect. There shall be one law for both the native and stranger, says Leviticus, one standard for justice and compassion. Yet had the prophets never spoken, our Jewish history would compel us to act and to stand here in solidarity. We were immigrants from the time of slavery in Egypt, through the DP camps in Europe, At times we were a despised minority, knowing all too well the fear and ill will that surround those who are different. When we hear immigrants collectively described as rapists and murderers, we remember how our ancestors were accused of flood libels and poisoning wells. We know these accusers. We have faced them before. When our elected leaders fan flames of fear into a firestorm of prejudice and hostility, we remember other demagogues who made the powerless scapegoats for all of society's ills. We know these demagogues. We have heard their dog whistles before. When bureaucrats separate family members, deporting some to countries where they know no one and don't speak the language, we recall the kinder transport and the selection process at Auschwitz. We have stood before soulless bureaucracies before. When private prisons under contract to U.S. Immigration Customs and Enforcement violate anti-slavery law by forcing tens of thousands of immigrants to work for $1 a day, or sometimes for nothing at all. We remember how the industrialists of I.G. Farben and Volkswagen once took advantage of such forced labor. We have seen such immoral opportunists before. And when innocent children are punished for their parents' transgressions, we understand that this is a basic lack of fairness. We have seen this kind of injustice before. In the face of these current attacks on human dignity, we cannot but recall our own immigrant forebears and reflect, there but for an accident of history go I. If religious tradition demands our care and concern for the stranger, how much the more so should we care for those who have lived among us practically their entire lives, particularly when we have signaled their acceptance by creating DACA and encouraging them to sign up. Now is the time to make good on that promise and to vote for human dignity. In so doing, we will fulfill God's expectation expressed in the book of Micah, that we do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with God, and thus take an important step to make America great again.
Now it's a great honor to introduce another organization who's participating with us today, and once again a new friend I know I will have for life. So it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Tammy Gilden, Senior Policy Associate at the Jewish Council for Public Affairs.
So, as Daryl stated, my name is Tammy Gilden. I'm the Senior Policy Associate for the Jewish Council for Public Affairs, which is an umbrella body for 125 Jewish Community Relations Councils and 16 national Jewish agencies. Together, our network works to promote a just and pluralistic American society, advocate for human rights around the world, and support peace in Israel. As Rabbi Cohen eloquently stated, Jewish tradition instills in us a commitment to protecting the vulnerable and welcoming the stranger. Rooted in these values, for more than 70 years, JCPA has worked to support immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers. We must uphold our values as a nation of immigrants. It is this melting pot that enriches our culture and our society. We remember that we were immigrants too. That is why we are such strong supporters of dreamers, and why we believe it is our moral imperative to ensure that these young people can continue to live, work, and study in the United States, the only country, the only home many of them know. DACA has unlocked economic opportunities for our nation as the approximate 800,000 DACA recipients who have come forward, repeatedly passed background checks, are now legally living and working in the United States. Not only have many been able to fulfill their dreams of attending and graduating from college, but are also serving in the United States military as well. In fact, in a 2016 study, the Immigrant Legal Resource Center found that over 87% of DACA recipients are working, paying taxes, and providing for their families. They are also entrepreneurs. According to a study published by the Center for American Progress in August of 2017, DACA recipients start businesses at more than twice the rate of the general population. Due to their economic contributions, the Immigrant Legal Resource Center study also found that if they are forced back into the shadows, it would cost the United States an estimated $433 billion in lost GDP over the next decade. It would also burden employers with $3.4 billion in unnecessary turnover and training costs, and would reduce contributions to Medicare and Social Security. These benefits are real. Not only is this country the only land they know, but they are making it a better country by helping secure our economic future, in addition to extending the life of Medicare and Social Security. While DACA provided temporary relief, we believe that these young people deserve a chance to live, study, and work in the United States without constant fear of detention and deportation. We must not allow the fate of over 800,000 immigrant youth to be used as a bargaining chip. That is why we are calling on members of Congress and the President to support the immediate passage of a Clean Dream Act.
I want to clarify, if you haven't noticed, that we have local, as in Milwaukee, Jewish and Latino organizations, and we have national Latino and Jewish organizations. I think it's really quite a moment to have all of us standing together. Next will speak Mr. Richard Fulton, who is Director of National and Legal Affairs for the American Jewish Committee.
It's an honor to be here with all of you today. I'm Richard Fulton, Director of National and Legislative Affairs for the American Jewish Committee, AJC, a local Jewish advocacy organization. Founded in 1906, AJC has fought for over 100 years human rights and civil rights. Created to ensure that something was done about the persecution of Jews that was taking place in Russia in 1906. And quickly came to realize that it became a motto that one cannot fight for the rights of any one community without being concerned about the rights of communities, local communities. And so it's really a privilege, as I've said, to be standing in solidarity with all of you today to ensure dreamers of given the benefit of the ability to stay in this country and to take immediate action for freedom. I want to reflect for a moment my personal history. I'm a child of Holocaust survivors who came to this country in 1951 because the United States passed the Displaced Persons Act that allowed visas to be issued that allowed survivors to come to this country. That only followed a time when the United States failed in its responsibility to ensure that the gates of this country were open to those who were fleeing persecution. The history of the Jewish people, as we heard from the rabbi, has been one of persecution and being turned into the other. We must not allow that to happen in this country, in this time, in this age. We have to remain a haven for the persecuted, and also a country that allows people to come here and make better lives for themselves. Nowhere is this war of the equities greater in terms of the United States playing that role than when it comes to young people who came to this country through no doing of their own, but because their parents brought them here, who seek to stay here and who benefit the country and continue to benefit the country in the way they do it here. The decision by the administration to end DACA without a ready alternative was deeply distressing. Dismantling DACA is a devastating blow to hundreds of thousands of young people who have benefited from the program and who have in turn contributed to communities across the country in which they live. Embracing, not penalizing these young people, who as children did not knowingly violate any law, is consistent with our nation's long tradition of welcoming immigrants who want to make the United States their home. It is imperative that Congress act now to enact a DREAM Act to end the uncertain status of these many immigrants, protect them from deportation, and give them the opportunity to obtain permanent legal status, ultimately a path to citizenship if they meet simple requirements. This is what justice demands. This is what we must act on, and call on Congress to act immediately to pass the DREAM Act.
Thank you. You know, we're so blessed that today we're hearing from so many new allies. The more we talk to each other, the more we see we have in common. So we're so blessed to have all of you here. I want to take this opportunity, though, to thank an ally and a partner who's been so with the League of United Latin American Citizens, with LULAC for oh so long, and of course I'm talking about the Hispanic Federation. So please put your hands together and welcome Laura Esquivel, Director of National Advocacy.
My name is Laura Esquivel. My lips. It's cold, but it doesn't matter. We're here for a very important reason, and I am so proud to stand with 150 dreamers from across the nation that Hispanic Federation and LULAC have brought to DC. This week, many of whom are represented here today. These young people have led this movement since day one. They set the tone, they lead the way. We, as allies and advocates, follow their lead. Dreamers have shown how incredible, I'm serious, my lips are Dreamers have shown how incredibly brave they are. When they had the opportunity to gain temporary work authorization and legal presence, they stepped forward and gave their name to the government for a chance at a better future. Since 2012, documented individuals have grown in their careers, become pillars within our society, and shown that they are more than willing to put in the work to achieve the American dreams that we all share. Since the Trump administration rescinded DACA on September 5th, an estimated 15,000 have lost DACA protection. Even though there's been a pause in Trump's plan to eradicate DACA due to a federal court decision, we need a permanent solution, not a drawn-out legal fight. And we need it now, before more young people lose their jobs, their ability to drive, and are forced back into the shadows. So we find ourselves once again walking the halls of Congress and knocking on doors, advocating for the DREAM Act, because the Trump White House has decidedly taken a disruptive and hard right-wing approach to the bipartisan resolutions put forth in Congress. With the introduction of the Hurd-Aguilar bill, there are now 2 bipartisan paths forward to a permanent solution. While there is a debate and legal dispute about the legality of DACA, there is a consensus that the only way to provide a permanent solution for dreamers is for Congress to enact legislation and to do it now. There is overwhelming public support for a legislative solution to protect and keep dreamers in America. Nearly 80% of American voters and 64% of Republican voters think that dreamers should be allowed to remain in our country and apply for citizenship. A deal for dreamers is within reach if both parties are committed to good faith negotiations. Hispanic Federation supports a bipartisan deal that is balanced and free of poison pills such as interior enforcement or an ineffective and absurdly expensive border wall that will militarize communities and negatively impact the environment. We need a deal that provides green cards for temporary protected status immigrants who are vulnerable to deportation because of recent Trump administration actions, whose cancellation of these programs remains suspect. And finally, we need a deal that protects the parents of dreamers. If President Trump decides to go down a path and insists on a wasteful wall or shuts down the government by refusing to agree to a bipartisan deal, make no mistake about it, a government shutdown will fall entirely on his shoulders and on the shoulders of the GOP. There's still time for Trump and his party to do the right thing and say yes to a bipartisan immigration deal before January 19th. If Trump does not agree to a bipartisan deal, he and Republicans who have full control of the federal government are entirely to blame for not keeping their promise to protect dreamers. Finally, I would be remiss to not add that as we fight for dreamers, we must also insist on long-term funding for the Children's Health Insurance Program, disaster aid for all communities still recovering from natural disasters, especially Puerto Rico, which keeps being inexplicably ignored and shortchanged as the island and its people seek to recover and rebuild. Hispanic Federation calls on Congress to ensure that they protect America's dream Dreamers and provide them to a path to citizenship by the end of this week. Please wait no longer. Thank you.
You know, we have that was just wonderful. Thank you, Hispanic Federation, for a long-standing partnership and for your commitment, making sure what is fair gets done. You know, I'm going to introduce one more person here, who's the essence of what is best with our country, who is representative of the potential that our country has and what has carried us all these years since our founding to become the great nation that we are. A fierce advocate, a talented, incredibly smart individual. His name is, and he's the president, by the way, of LULAC, Texas A&M. So a quick shout out there. Please welcome Joseph Trujillo, the Dreamer.
First off, I want to thank the League of United Latin American Citizens and the Hispanic Federation for this opportunity to bring me here to Washington, D.C. It's definitely been a humbling experience, but the reason of why me and 150 other Dreamers are here today is to share our stories and to make our stories heard to the entire nation. I'd like to introduce myself. And before I do that, I want to just take it back to exactly 1 year ago when the elections were held. I remember after hearing all these disparaging comments from the new administration and all sorts of those things, I felt definitely discouraged. I definitely didn't know what my future was going to hold. Let me just say, I've overcome a lot of obstacles to be exactly where I am here today. I come from the state of Texas, where during in high school they tried to take in-state tuition for my education. I realized that, and that's when I knew that I needed to definitely overcome so many obstacles and get ahead of the game in every possible way that I can. I did not know I was undocumented until about the age of 7 or 8, back in middle school, when I was going on a trip, when my classmates wanted to go on a trip to Paris. And I asked my mom if I could go, and that's when I first realized that, yes, I did come here to the United States when I was only 5 years old from Peru, but in the end, this was actually going to bring some problems that I never even realized would have occurred. My name is Joseph Trujillo. I am currently a junior at Texas A&M University, and I am a proud Dreamer. I come from so much from a loving family, and my mom brought me here when I was 5 years old to have a better education. Back in Peru, that was not guaranteed. Here in this land of opportunity, if you work hard, if you put in a lot of work every single day, you're going to have that guaranteed future, and I always was a strong believer in that. But only till recently, when all of this started coming up, I started being doubtful about my future. When I realized that in-state tuition wasn't going to be a guarantee here for me, I decided to work everything off and make sure that I was fully funded to go to a university like Texas A&M. I'm currently studying meteorology, and I did not let these instances get a hold of me. I took a lot of advantage to my meteorology career, and I actually ended up becoming the area's first Spanish weatherman for the Brazos Valley, where in times such as hard as Hurricane Harvey, I stood up for all of my people in my community and informed them of the event such that was tragic as was Hurricane Harvey. In those moments, I started off this small little journey as a meteorologist. Only 50 followers in the first month, but after only 6 months, I've found 1,600 people that have believed in me as a meteorologist, and honestly, that's been the most humbling experience that has grown me as a professional and as a dreamer here in the United States. I obviously know what I want to do here in my future. I want to make an impact not only on people around me, but for my community and for everyone else that really does have and has hope in us. Here, my time in Washington, D.C. has definitely been a humbling one, where I've found people stick up for me. And I hope that if any congressman or any congresswoman is looking at this right now, they look at this type of story. I'm not here, I pay my taxes, I do everything I can. Even though my mom, which is currently 66 years old, she works 3 jobs to get us to where we are today. And recently, with the current administration's immigration raids, she recently got fired out of 2 of those jobs and has had to go to part-time in one of them. That has definitely been a drawback in my life. It's forced me to find another job and try to find ways to mend with my family in times where I didn't necessarily even believe in myself. But you know what? I'm here to tell you guys that I'm willing to overcome any challenge in my way in order to fight for my future. And not just me, there's 800,000 of us out there that are really eager to grow this nation as a whole. We want to benefit the United States. We want to definitely make our presence known here. I want every single congressman and congresswoman or any elected official out there to realize our potential. Because we are dreamers. We have a purpose here. This is our land that we grew up in. And I'm speaking for everybody here today that when this vote comes on this week and in any other time, to believe in us, to believe in our dreams, because we have the highest of mentalities and we want to make this nation a really, really great nation. And you know what? I will admit, with the current situation with my mom not having a lot of jobs and me not having any money and maybe not even having the best internship opportunities or anything in school, I've made the best out of a worse situation. Now we've done our part, and we expect for everybody in Congress to do their part and help support our dreams so that more of us like us can continue to make this country a great nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joseph.
Dream back now! 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 Dream back now!
Okay, thank you, Joseph. And now it's my great pleasure to be able to introduce Monica Seabreed. She is a dreamer from LULAC in Washington, in New York. She hails from Brooklyn, New York. She's been a great leader with the Community Dreamers, the University of New York, and she's done an amazing job at bringing in a group of fantastic dreamers all the way from New York City to be with us today. So please help me welcome Monica Seabreed.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Monica. I am a New Yorker. I am an American. I am a dreamer. I am undocumented, and I'm here willing to put my life and fighting with my community because this is an issue that is affecting all of us. And so I want to start by sharing a little bit about who I am and why I'm here. I'm the first one in my family with a college education. I'm the first one in my family to have an actual profession and to be working legally. But this is not possible without the fear of deportation and the constant fear of deportation that we all live, especially since this administration took office in DC. I am also here to tell you that although I'm undocumented, I am resilient and I'm willing to fight because this is an issue, again, that affects all of us. I have a mother who's undocumented, a father who's undocumented, a little brother who's a US citizen. And now we're constantly asking the question of who is going to take care of my little brother while deported? What is going to happen if my little brother gets to be deported before my parents? Because now even he is an issue for this administration. Although he was born here, he has the legal documents, and he has the opportunity to say that he is a citizen. The other thing that I really want to share with all of you, especially those that are undocumented, who are dreamers, who are also fighting for this, you're not alone. I found a community within LULAC 4 years ago when I was also thinking that I didn't have a future, that there were more undocumented people like me. And my second ask for Congress especially is that they have the power to create change. They're acting out, they're creating all these conversations and making us think that they don't have the power, but we know that they do. And so clearly, and because we are here, we're telling them that we care, that the issue that matters to all of us. And I'm asking all of you to please continue to call Congress, continue to bring people on, because there are hundreds of undocumented immigrants just like me who are being affected by this every day. And then for those that are in New York, and especially those that are live streaming or sending messages, there's someone right now who's detained in New York City. His name is Robbie, and he's about to be deported because he's been following every single rule. So please call Congress. Senator Schumer, we've been in your office. We will go back to your office. You have the power to change your lives. And as you can hear over there, what do we want? Dreamers! When do we want it? Now! Everybody.
Well, thank you so much. So our final speaker is our national president of LULAC, Roger C. Rocha Jr. Roger has been a tremendous leader for our community, and he has made passing the DREAM Act his top priority. He was the one who brought us all here to this week because he said it was important for us to be here to get the DREAM Act over the top. Please help us welcome our great leader, Roger C. Rocha Jr.
Thank you, everyone. It's good to see everyone here. Let me begin by saying the weather is not going to deter us, right? Not at all to do what we need to do. And that should be an example to Congress. Hey, if we can be out here talking about DACA and passing the DREAM Act, and being out here, they can get the job done and do something by Friday. Yes or no? No.
There's Roger.
You all,
That's Roger Rocha, our national president of
proud
LULAC.
of you because you all are here not only risking your health to get a better future. That is the truth. You are not only the difference makers, you are also the ones that are going to be called the influencers in Congress as you're making your visits. Your stories are what's going to change the tone, hopefully by this Friday, so we can get something passed. There is a bipartisan bill currently there that's being proposed today on finally addressing the question of what do we do with the DREAM, and that is to pass the DREAM. We need to forcefully go out and demand that it happen. We can no longer have anyone in this country living in the shadows. That is unacceptable. Now stop and think about this for a moment. You are not the first generation of dreamers in this country. You are not. The founding fathers of this country were dreamers. And they dreamt of a country where individuals had the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That's right.
That's why you're here.
That's right.
For the American idea. And those are what we have, those principles are what we have to continue to fight for. What you are doing today, which is a big sacrifice. But I know that we will see this through and get this done. It is just a matter of time. Because we cannot have our brothers and sisters that are dreamers at a rate of about 120 a week being deported. We cannot be breaking up families anymore. It's heartbreaking. You all saw the one with Mr. Garcia of Detroit?
Yes, yes.
How can that happen in the most industrialized country in the world? It is unacceptable. And for members of Congress to let that happen is shameful. It is shameful. We cannot break up anymore. We need a solution to DACA done today. We need a solution done for immigration reform immediately thereafter to protect your parents and the parents of everyone that's in our great country. That is what we do. This is what it's all about. This is what this country was founded on. My brothers and sisters, I will tell you this and I'll leave this because you're probably as cold as I am. And I'm from Texas. We don't have this. But I will tell you this. We are on the right side of history. We are on the right side of this issue. And we have to help those that don't understand that. We have to help those that seek to divide and destroy and just put out false narratives. You all remember 9/11. Immediately after 9/11, there was hysteria. Oh my God, terrorists are going to come from the southern border and just overrun everything. That didn't happen. You know, it's easy for individuals to put out false narratives. And there's been a lot of false narratives put out about our community. But let me tell you one thing. There is no false narrative about the American dream. There is no false narrative of what dreamers and their parents contribute to this country. You all are the next generation. You all are the best and the brightest. We cannot afford to lose individuals such as yourself. The future of this country solely relies on you. You are what's going to carry this country forward. Remember that. Go out, get those congressional districts, get at home, get them here, tell them what we need to do, and let's make it a reality. Remember, you all, everyone here is that difference to you. Thank you very much. Y que Dios los bendiga a todos.
Yeah. DACA sí.
Migra no.
DACA sí.
Migra no.
DACA sí.
All of our students will be going to the Hill in just a few minutes. We're going to be meeting with all 535 members of Congress this week to press the point home that we just heard here today. Do we have any questions from the press? Are y'all too cold? Any more questions? Okay, so we're going to bring the press conference to a close. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got a lot of work to do. We need all 535 members, but we're going to do it. We're going to make sure we get this stream back over the finish line. Thank you so much.
Now remember one thing, on Friday, we will circle back here to celebrate the passage of the DREAM Act.
Yes.
Y la pasan a la